many of you, either your parents or you, rented from a Blockbuster store as you were? So most of you, okay? Now, what's amazing to me, okay, this guy, Wayne Huzienga, was the CEO of Blockbuster. So you can say, maybe Mr. Huizenga wasn't the brightest guy, and you'd be wrong. Because Huizenga is a guy that took 3 companies, including Blockbuster, public. He's a guy that is in the Billionaires Club. He's a guy that is a part owner of the Miami Dolphins football team, the Miami Heat basketball team, and the Miami Marlins baseball team, okay? He is not an incompetent man, yet. What happened is legend. Here is Blockbuster. It's 1998, 1999. They have 10,000 brick and mortar stores, 10,000. They have 98% of the US market, and they literally have contracted relationships with every major Hollywood studio. Sounds like they got a really great future ahead of them, right? Out of nowhere, a Silicon Valley entrepreneur by the name of Reed Hastings rents the movie Apollo 13. And like most of us, puts it in his trunk and forgets about it for a week, goes back the following weekend to rent a movie, sees the copy of Apollo 13 in his trunk and says, oh boy, this is gonna cost me. So he goes into the Blockbuster store and they charge him $65 for forgetting to bring back his movie, right? Because as we all know, Blockbuster loves human nature, or they loved it when they were around. Blockbuster made most of its money on late fees. It was a predatory business model. Predatory business models don't last when consumers have a choice. So although the name Hastings is British, he might as well have been Sicilian, because like Don Corleone, he didn't get mad, he got even. Okay, he got very even. And so when you go into the executive suite of basically any senior corporate team, and you say, are you prepared for disruption? Almost without exception, you get, I got this, don't worry. That startup in Silicon Valley, that startup in London, that startup in Shenzhen or Bangalore, they got nothing, okay? Just like Blockbuster said, Netflix got nothing. And so, as an executive team, every day they are faced with a decision. Do we continue to do what got us here? Do we continue to focus on the things that allowed us to become a significant company? Or do we pay attention to market signals and understand that maybe, just maybe, the world is changing and therefore we need to change too? More often than not, they decide to stay the course. And as Reed Hastings says, companies almost never die from moving too quickly, but they almost always die from moving too slow. By the time that Huizenga and his team woke up and saw what was happening, it was way too late. They were caught with their pants around their ankles, and of course, as we know, this is what happened. The only Blockbusters left in the United States are in Alaska, okay? Alaska is the land that time forgot. People go to Alaska to get away from the stresses of today's world, okay? But there are a couple of Blockbusters still standing in Alaska. So if you're ever in Alaska, it would be a very novel experience to actually go into a Blockbuster. It's like going through a time machine in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, okay? You gotta worry if Keanu Reeves is gonna show up at some point during that. But the thing that you have to understand is that, think about what a movie means to you, right? Doesn't a movie mean it's time to relax, it's time to allow your being to travel somewhere else for a while, to sort of, you know, escape reality? But the problem with the way that Netflix, or the way that Blockbuster made you rent movies, is renting movies was stressful. You had to travel to the store, you typically wound up trying to rent a movie that was out of stock, and then you would wait in a very long line at the cash register, so you could burn 60, 90 minutes on a Friday or Saturday night and not even leave with the movie that you wanted. And then, of course, Blockbuster wanted to be your mother. They wanted to tell you, you can only watch that movie for 24 hours and you have to bring it back. Or if it's a non-standard current movie, 48 hours. Right? And of course, the late fees. People despised the late fees. So what should have been a fun, relaxing experience turned out to be anything but. And so what our good friend Reed Hastings understood is, how about we allow our clients or our users to be treated like adults? Let's try to simplify the experience of renting movies. Let's try to make it fun for them to rent movies without a lot of the stresses that Blockbuster has imposed. And this is a very common way that companies today have been thriving, is to eliminate or minimize complex experiences. This is the way that Steve Jobs did it when he came up with first the iPod and then the iPhone. This is exactly what Uber does. When, like magic, I click my phone 2 times and a taxi or an Uber driver appears before me like I have some magic wand, okay? So the ability to simplify complex experiences is a common theme that we will see.